Just 2 decades ago, Kenya's military was built for conventional wars. Today, its elite Rangers and Special Forces strike units operate at the razor's edge of East Africa's security, forged by terror shocks and relentless threats. They're over 3,000 strong, trained by doctrines from the SAS to U.S. Army Rangers, called to missions the public rarely hears about. But how did a force born of parachute hopes in 1965 become the frontline bulwark against chaos at home and across borders? Inside Kenya's Special Forces, Rangers and strike units answers what it took, and what it still costs, to build an army within an army. In 1965, Kenya's first generation of elite soldiers took shape with the creation of the first independent parachute company. These early paratroopers, trained in the United Kingdom, brought airborne tactics to a young military still finding its identity after independence. By 1983, their legacy expanded into the 20th Parachute Battalion, a unit designed for rapid deployment and high-risk assignments, an answer to regional instability and the need for forces that could move faster and strike harder than conventional infantry. Throughout the late 20th century, Kenya's military watched as threats evolved: border disputes, insurgencies, and the rise of cross-border crime. International influences grew stronger, with doctrines and techniques borrowed from British SAS, U.S. Army Rangers, and Israeli commandos. The 1998 embassy bombings in Nairobi and Dar es Salaam exposed new vulnerabilities, pushing military planners to rethink how Kenya could respond to terror and unconventional warfare. By the early 2000s, the groundwork was in place for a new breed of special operations units. What began as a parachute experiment had become the foundation for a force that would soon stand at the forefront of Kenya's national security, ready to adapt to dangers both old and new. The Army Special Operations Brigade, known as ASOB, stands as the command hub for Kenya's most elite ground forces. From its headquarters in Gilgil, within the Naivasha region, ASOB oversees 3 distinct battalions: the 20th Parachute Battalion, the 30th Special Forces Battalion, and the 40th Ranger Strike Force. Each unit brings a unique capability to the brigade's overall mission. The 20th Parachute Battalion specializes in airborne assault and rapid deployment, drawing on decades of experience in high-risk environments. The 30th Special Forces Battalion is tasked with deep reconnaissance, sabotage, and counter-terrorism, operating in secrecy and often far from main support. The 40th Ranger Strike Force, inspired by U.S. Army Ranger doctrine, focuses on commando-style operations and counterinsurgency, able to deploy quickly across varied terrain. ASOB's command structure is deliberately streamlined. All 3 battalions report directly to brigade headquarters at Gilgil, which also houses the Special Operations Training School, the entry point for every operator. While some reports mention a long-range surveillance unit, this group is not under ASOB, but instead falls within military intelligence, reflecting Kenya's strict separation between tactical and strategic special operations. The exact number of operators in ASOB remains classified, but defense analysts agree these units are far smaller and more selective than regular Army battalions. What is clear is that every member has passed through a demanding selection process, ensuring a core defined by discipline, adaptability, and readiness for missions that require absolute precision. At dawn, a line of recruits stands at attention outside the Special Operations Training School in Gilgil. Each has already proven themselves in regular service, but here, the standards are different. The first week is a relentless barrage of physical tests, forced marches, obstacle courses, sleep deprivation, and constant drills. For the Ranger Strike Force, the core course stretches 63 days. Days blur together as candidates run patrols through the dusty Rift Valley, scale cliffs on Mount Kenya, and navigate the heat and humidity of Manda Bay. Instructors push for endurance, but also for composure under stress. Every meal, every moment of rest is earned. The Special Forces pipeline is even longer: 6 months of advanced training that demands more than stamina. Candidates study languages, blend into local communities, and master survival in isolation. Only 1 in 4 will pass all the assessments. Injuries and exhaustion are common. Some are pulled for failing to meet academic standards or for breaking under psychological pressure. The ones who remain are transformed. They speak of the moment they received the Tam Beret, a symbol recognized across the Kenya Defense Forces as the mark of a true operator. Operator K remembers the final selection day, soaked in sweat, legs shaking, yet unwilling to quit. The instructors offer no praise, only a nod. For those who finish, the real work is just beginning. Beyond the gates of Gilgil, the sharpening of Kenya's special forces continues on distant continents. Every year, select operators are sent abroad for advanced modules, immersed in the tactics of their most experienced allies. In the United States, they train side by side with Army Rangers and Green Berets, learning the intricacies of small unit leadership and live fire maneuver at Fort Benning. The Joint Combined Exchange Training Program, known as JCET, brings American instructors to Kenya as well, running joint exercises that test readiness for real-world missions. In the United Kingdom, attachments with the British SAS and Royal Marine Commandos introduce Kenyan teams to counterinsurgency, urban warfare, and amphibious assault. French instructors add mountain and urban combat skills, reflecting France's own legacy in Africa's challenging environments. Israeli advisors share expertise in counter-terrorism and intelligence, focusing on hostage rescue and rapid response to complex attacks. The Czech Republic's 601 Special Forces Group has shaped Kenya's long-range surveillance doctrine, teaching deep reconnaissance and stealth behind enemy lines. These exchanges are more than symbolic. They forge habits of interoperability and mutual trust. Operators return home with new skills and perspectives, ready to adapt lessons from across the globe to the realities of East Africa. International partnerships have become a quiet backbone of Kenya's special operations, ensuring that each mission draws on the best practices of the world's most respected forces. In the autumn of 2012, the final assault on Kismayo began before sunrise. Kenyan special operations teams moved through the tangled brush outside the city, radio silent, boots caked with red dust. Team leader M, a veteran of the Ranger Strike Force, led his squad to the edge of the port, where al-Shabaab fighters held their last stronghold. Overhead, Kenyan helicopters swept low, dropping paratroopers from the 20th Battalion to block escape routes. Offshore, the Navy unleashed a barrage as amphibious teams landed under cover of smoke. Each operator carried only what was essential: rifle, water, a single photograph folded into a breast pocket. The plan was to strike fast, overwhelm the defenses, and secure the docks before sunrise. As gunfire echoed through the narrow streets, Team Leader M's squad cleared building after building, searching for hidden fighters and terrified civilians. By midday, the Kenyan flag flew above the port. Hundreds of militants scattered or surrendered, their supply lines cut. Aid convoys rolled in behind the assault teams, delivering food and medical care to families displaced by the fighting. The capture of Kismayo was more than a military victory. It was proof that Kenya's doctrine of rapid, coordinated force could succeed in the most hostile terrain. For the operators, it was the moment years of training and sacrifice became real, not just in the heat of battle, but in the faces of children waiting for relief. After the dust settled in Somalia, Kenya's security forces faced a new kind of test at home. In 2013, the Westgate Mall attack brought the reality of urban terrorism to Nairobi's doorstep. The siege exposed deep flaws in coordination between police and military responders, with confusion over command and breakdowns in communication. Parliamentary reviews and leaked after-action reports triggered a wave of reforms. New standard operating procedures took shape, emphasizing unified command posts and joint crisis training. The lessons from Westgate were tested again in Garissa in 2015 and at the Dusit D2 complex in 2019. Each time, elite units improved their ability to respond quickly, but the main assault remained the job of the police recce squad, with military special forces in supporting roles. Behind the scenes, Kenya's special units pushed modernization even further. Night vision gear, surveillance drones, and encrypted radios became standard. Helicopter fleets grew with the addition of MD-500 and Huey-2 models, allowing for rapid insertion. As Kenya's operators sharpened their edge, they also took on new roles as mentors. The Special Operations Training School in Gilgil became a regional hub, hosting Somali Danab Brigade trainees and officers from across Africa. Kenya's experience in adapting to evolving threats now shapes the doctrine of its neighbors, making its special forces not only guardians at home, but trainers and partners across the continent. Today, more than 3,000 operators serve within Kenya's Army Special Operations Brigade, a force shaped by recruitment standards with a pass rate of just 25% and forged through courses lasting up to 6 months. Since the 1965 formation of the first parachute company, Kenya's special forces have evolved in response to threats like the 1998 embassy bombings and the rise of al-Shabaab. Their record includes the 2011 to 2012 Kismayo campaign, as well as responses to Westgate, Garissa, and Dusit D2 attacks. Yet, much remains classified. Officials do not release detailed unit breakdowns or specifics on recent missions. International partnerships with the US, UK, France, Israel, and Czech Republic continue to shape training and doctrine. Kenya's special forces now play a regional role, mentoring Somali Danab units and adopting advanced technology such as night vision and drones. While many operational details are withheld, the public record shows a force that has grown more capable and resilient, standing at the center of East Africa's security landscape.